Hello and welcome to my shop. So I'm always looking for ways to share woodworking knowledge. I started making a video earlier this year where I'm filming myself every time I use a flush trim router bit because it's such a versatile bit. I use it all the time. After a year I figured I would have a good amount of footage to show you just how versatile this bit is. Well, I realized I missed a golden opportunity back in January when I made about 24 of these custom drawer pulls made out of this highly figured walnut, and I made them with this jig. So I decided to go back and recreate the jig in order to film how I used it to make these custom drawer pulls, and decided, well, I'll just make a video on how to make your own custom drawer pulls while I'm at it. So if you're interested in making your own custom drawer pulls, here's how you do it using this jig. I'll show you how the jig works, and if you want to build it up, the final 3 minutes of the video will show how to make this jig. It's really easy and it works really well. The diameter of this opening is the same as this. So we'll cut it into smaller blocks that we can then mount in here and route. It looks like we're going to get 6 door pulls out of that board, which is pretty good, given that I paid $7 for it. So go ahead and mount this to the jig here. By screwing it in place. I've already got my bit height set to the height that I want to route this out. Next thing you do is you just, with a 1/4 round bearing guide bit, just put a nice little profile on the edges here. Alright, there you go. I finished it up with a little bit of hand sanding, and you can tell already how nice it's going to look even without finish. Here's an example of one with some finish on it. Another project made easy with a jig and the flush trim router bit. Stay tuned. Toward the end of the year I should have a good video on all the versatile things this flush trim router bit can do. And if you want to know how to make this jig, if you're interested in making these drawer pulls for yourself, stay tuned. The rest of the video I'll show you how to make this jig. It's really easy. Thanks for watching. I have 2 pieces of 1/2 inch poplar here that are pretty flat, the exact same size, and I've drawn a line down the middle, the exact center of each one. You'll see why in a bit. And then I have a piece of 3/4 inch thick Baltic birch plywood that I have ripped to be just very slightly wider than the thickness of the walnut we'll be using for our drawer pulls. You're going to need a compass. I'm going to scribe a line across the bottom of this, the thickness of your Baltic birch plywood or whatever you're using. Height of my drawer pulls is a little bit more than 1 1/4 inches. So we're going to mark on the center line 1 1/4 inches. And then the thickness of this ridge that I think is most comfortable is a little bit thicker than 3/8. So we're going to mark another line below this at 3/8. Now the radius that I found that works good for these is 3 1/4 inches of our compass. I've already set this to 3 1/4 inches. It may be different depending on the size of the drawer pull you want to make. Right now we're going to change the radius so that it lands on this other mark that we made 3 inches below top mark. Okay, now we're going to nail these boards together. All right, before I nail these together, I'm just going to erase the lines that I don't want to cut on. So I know where to place my nails, and I can nail now anywhere in this area because we're not going to be cutting in there. All right, now we'll carefully pry these apart. Now we're gonna glue these to this, like this, I'm sorry. Gotta make sure they're the exact mirror image. We're gonna index them by having it flush with the end and flush with the bottom down here. All we got to do is cut this end off there and we're done. That didn't take us very long at all, and we're ready to start using this jig to make some beautiful custom drawer pulls.